And we are live. Thanks for joining us on the John A. McCabe Show. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and comment on this webcast. Today is Friday. Anything goes. As you can tell, I'm sitting at the beach. It's, in case you don't know, it's actually a beach in Hawaii. I just jetted out there for the evening, and I just wanted to do the show live from the beaches of Hawaii. I'm sitting with my trusty Corona. I'm ready to get into beach mode for the weekend and see what everyone has to talk about. I got a couple of great guests coming on today, actually, on the John A. McCabe Show. The show is geared towards entrepreneurship, living the lifestyle you've always dreamed, connecting with friends, family, and just growing your business so that you too can accelerate your authority and live whatever life dream that you actually have. And today our first guest actually does that. For many years, I actually met this individual when I went on vacation in Belize for 2 weeks, and right away we connected. He's from Canada as well, and he's been chasing his dream for a long time, and he's actually been living it for probably 10 to 20 years. I'm not sure exactly how long he's been doing it, but he's actually going to let us know what life is like when you actually live your dream. And so without further ado, I'm just going to do a quick transition here, and then we're going to get right into my first guest. And then for the second half of the segment, I've got a second guest who's going to talk about their new book that's coming out, Passion 365, talking about relationships, having a solid relationship in their life. So just hold on one sec, and I'll be right back with Paul Germain. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hey, I'm amazing. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent, man. I'm doing excellent. So I'll try not to stare down at my computer. For those of you who just joined me today, again, my Margaret is no longer helping me. She's back doing her regular job, so she's off hiatus. So I'm actually trying to control things at the same time as host the show. So sometimes I end up looking down at my computer instead of looking up at the camera. So I'll do my very best to stay focused on the camera. And I don't have a screen going where I can actually see Paul other than on my laptop. So the odd time I just may look down to make sure the shot's still going and to make sure Paul's still on. And that's where I actually have the Facebook running live as well. So Paul German. Not Jermaine. Paul German, welcome to the show, my friend. It's been a long time.
Hey, it's been a super long time. I know you're in Hawaii, so I thought I'd start off with a nice Corona because that's always the beer of the beach, right? You've got one going as well, so cheers to you, that's for sure.
Cheers, my friend. So, yeah, Paul and I actually met when I was on a 2-week holiday in Belize with my friend Jeff, who's now actually, I don't know if you know this, Paul, Jeff is living in the Philippines. He married a girl from the Philippines.
Oh, no way, that's amazing.
And instead of him moving her up here, he decided to leave his job and live off his investments and move to the Philippines and be with his wife. And they're expecting their first baby in December. So the plan is I'm looking to head down in December when their firstborn child is coming into the world. So I'm sure you remember Jeff from our time in Belize. But let's talk about you, Paul. Let's talk about sort of how you ended up in Belize, and now you're in Costa Rica. And prior to that, I think you were in adventure sports or adventure touring. So just tell people a little about the backstory of Paul Germain, sort of your origin story.
Well, my origin story, yeah. So I'm definitely Canadian. I've been pretty lucky, I suppose, as many people I've met along the way to grow up in different places. My Mom and Dad brought me to Brazil a couple times as I was growing up, so I caught that whole flair for traveling and cultures and languages and things, and that's led me to moving across Canada, doing a lot of different things. And exactly as you said, I started out in the outdoor adventure tourism business when I was about 16 years old and never really looked back. and I've been able to make a living doing times as I was growing up. So I all sorts of things from all over the board in that whole flair for tourism business. You know, I was kayak guiding and mountaineering and all sorts of stuff out in Vancouver, which led to languages and things, and which led to consulting, led me to moving and running businesses, doing a lot of different things. And exactly as you said, I grew from there. I started out in the outdoor adventure tourism business when I was about 16 years old, and never really looked back. When the housing market went crazy in Vancouver, as it still is, to my wife at the time, Callie, two of us decided that two adventure guides weren't going to be able to afford a 600% overinflated house, so we started looking at options offshore. Obviously, it wasn't a huge trend at that time, but lots of people doing it, and we ended up in St. Lucia running some resorts, managing a resort there for a while, and we're able to move our way through the British Virgin Islands and then into Belize. Belize got its talons in us, if I can say that. And it was absolutely fantastic. We hooked up with one resort offshore, about a mile and a half offshore, or sorry, an hour and a half boat ride offshore rather, called Turnoff Island Lodge, and that was the end of that. We ran resorts for 15 years, and all sorts of skill bases came from there. But you know, in the tourism business and the travel business, you have to be a jack of all trades. You've got to do everything, and that's what's really allowed me to be able to move to different places and kind of guide my own life versus being guided by others, if you will, and not having choices, right?
Yeah, so all the people that are in the corporate America that just, you know, they hate their job, or they just hate getting up every day to go to work, or, you know, at some point in time, you got to step back and think about, well, why am I doing all this? Like, what is life truly about? It's not about, you know, living somebody else's dream, who is the owner or the CEO of that company. It's about, you know, living my own dream, and how can I actually live my own dream and do what I want to do and still earn a living and be very happy. Because I'm sure there's one thing I know about you, Paul, you're extremely a happy person. I don't think I've ever seen you sad or upset, or, I mean, you're living in paradise. You're doing exactly what you love to do. You love people. You love connecting with people. And I think the job that you actually are doing, it just enables you to do that on an ongoing basis.
Well, you know, and thank you, and that's what I try to present in my life on a daily basis, right? Because what's lucky about what I get to do is that I get a choice, and I get to choose my direction. Of course, it's not all, you know, beautiful roses and all that stuff. There's always the stresses of what we need to do in life to create revenue to allow ourselves to do the things we love. But you said it right, and I think we were talking before the show for a little bit how one of the things that I don't like hearing as I go around the world and meet people and do talks on moving offshore and other different things is people who feel they can't do anything about the life that they get up to daily and don't like,
right? And
say they don't like. I'm not saying it, and you're not saying by any means, and I don't think anybody listening would say that if you love the corporate world and you're in that and you enjoy that thoroughly and it satisfies your goals, then you should be completely doing that as much as you want to do that. That's fantastic. So don't get me wrong there. But if you wake up every morning, feel like you're stuck, say, I don't like this, I hate this, I can't believe I'm doing this, you're not motivated to go to work and do other things, and that obviously affects other parts of your life, then you have the option to certainly take a chance, take a look at things, and make a plan. And you know, you never know what kind of alternative lifestyle you can look for that might create a better or healthy environment for you in all sorts of different facets. And it's out there and it's possible. And I've been very lucky to be able to grasp onto that and take that by the horns and live it. So it's fantastic for sure.
Yeah, there's one thing you touched on though. I don't think luck had a lot to do with it. It's basically you taking action and pursuing what it is that you actually wanted to do in life, and being consistent on a persistent basis to make that actually a reality and be able to make a comfortable living or a good living, doing what it is that you love to do and living in places that you love to live, places that it's, like behind me where it's sunny, it's beachy, and there's water all the time, and just an amazing environment. You come up to Canada, I believe you're at your family cottage right now up in Ontario, but you get to come back to Canada and then head back. It's going to get cold here very soon, so you get to head back to the tropical weather and enjoy that.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I love that. I've grown up on the beach all my life. I love the sun. You know, a lot of people know that the sun's not great for you and cover up, but it's kind of my vice if there's anything else going on, and I live for that stuff. And you're right, I've been very blessed to be able to pick and choose and decide what I want to do and where I want to go. That's fantastic. So it works really well from my perspective. But you know, I get to interact with a lot of vacationers, a lot of tourists who come down, and we have a lot of talks about all this stuff, and so they love it all. It's fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was just instructed by somebody that my voice might be a little bit too low, so maybe I'm not talking loud enough. So